I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town.
And Jack definitely left town. Got out of San Francisco. This is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. You know what? I'm so glad that this is the kinder, gentler Tim. Because if it wasn't, there would just be so many things wrong. And there would be so much to talk about, but this, like I said, this is the kinder, gentler Tim, that he takes these losses now in stride. This 30-12 debacle, we take it in stride now. We do. We're just like, it's all good. You know what? You gave a guy $40 million a year. He's had 2 good quarters out of 12. It's all good. You got a defense that's just getting run through, and that's supposed to be the strength of our team, is that defensive line. Gave Dex all that money, gave a huge contract. Well, he did give a huge contract, but to get him, gave Leonard Williams a huge contract. You got Ashawn, you got DJ Davidson, you got all these hog mollies up in the front. We still get run on. We don't know how to tackle. That's some of the worst tackling I have ever seen since Pop Warner. But don't worry. We're okay. Everything's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Because you want to know why? It's because of the fact that, we made the playoffs last year.
Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
Oh, the kinder, gentler Tim, I think he just went into the box. It's also come out that I see that Saquon Barkley has now revealed that he does have a high ankle sprain. And, of course, a high ankle sprain is a little bit more severe of an injury to come back from. That could, considering Brian Daboll said he's made considerable process in the fast healer, the high ankle sprain could literally put him out for 6 weeks. We're hoping it's not that, but Barkley came out and said that. But we want to talk about the reasons why the Giants lost this game. And I'm sorry. Everyone wanted to talk about the 2 quarters in San Francisco because they were the biggest Giant comeback in 50 years. Not San Francisco, Carolina. I'm Carolina with the Cardinals. Biggest comeback in 50 years for the Giants. But which was a record. But nobody wanted to talk about the other 6 quarters, where we also set an NFL record for the worst 6 quarters in the first start of a season in NFL history. But nobody wants to talk about that. So we go up into the vaunted, go into Levi's Stadium and face another playoff team. And we face another playoff team like the Dallas Cowboys. And we get basically dismantled. 150 yards total offense to 441 in San Francisco. We did have that turnover. Only 10 first downs to 26 first downs for the Niners. It was just bad. It was just ugly. And I'm sorry. You got to start at the top. And I'm not starting at the top in regards to the coaching staff. I'm starting at the top with the 53-man roster, and that's going to be your $160 million quarterback. You have to start there. You cannot have this type of performance. You can't. It just doesn't make sense that you have this type of performance. You needed to do something. You needed to come out in some way, in some regards, to help rally your team. And I think Daniel Jones figured it out right away that there was no way he could turn around and say, I can run the ball on this team. Because we talked about this. The linebackers and the safeties and everyone else for this Frisco team, they're not the Panthers. Why do I keep saying the Panthers? They're not the Cardinals. They're fast. They're quick. You saw DJ try to sprint out. I think it was number 55 on the 49ers. And he literally cut him off at it's like a cowboy movie. We got to cut him off at the pass. He cut him off right away. I think it was like a 2-yard gain. Then Bosa came out and Bosa talked about some things here. Let's listen to Bosa for a minute.
Daniel Jones had 2 carries, 5 yards. Does that surprise you that he didn't try to run more?
Yeah, I was a little surprised they didn't go with the zone read game a little bit, which kind of hurt us back in 2020. But I guess they figured that we emphasized it.
And I love it because he stopped himself And I think he was going to say, I think they realized they weren't going to be able to do it because of the fact that we sniffed it out and could sniff it out almost every time they tried to do it.
The week, so maybe they didn't go to it. But we expected that. We didn't get that much. But yeah, he was getting rid of it more than trying to extend plays like we watched the first couple games.
So his whole philosophy, and I think this maybe was a philosophy of the Giants, of get the ball out quick. We've talked about this before. Get the ball out quick. Move, matriculate, you do a little Hank Stram.
Sorry, we gotta matriculate the ball down the field.
I think that's kind of what they were doing, or what they were trying to do, or what their thought process was. But the problem was, without a viable running game, without a viable option to move the ball down the field, it was just Daniel Jones doing what he does best. 22 of 32 for 137, 4.3 yards an average. He was only sacked twice, and 2 sacks. Excuse me, 2 sacks, and he had QBR rating of 41.6. Matt Breida led the way with 17 rushes for 4 rushes for 17 yards for 4.3. But if all the people want to hype the praise, and all the people want to give the accolades to Daniel Jones for that win against a bad Cardinals team, as we played against an astronaut, why am I looking at Twitter now and seeing people blame Darren Waller for one of the drops? And I love it. One person goes, he only had like 3-4 seconds to throw that ball before the rush got to him. That's why he hurried it. 3-4 seconds is a lifetime in the NFL. It's a lifetime in the pocket. 3-4 seconds. I could not. And this was a content creator. 3-4 seconds is not long enough for him to throw the ball to Waller down the field. What does he need? 8? Like I said, this was literally someone who creates content. If you want to be stupid, do it on someone else's watch. It's the kinder, gentler Tim. That's what he would say. The kinder, gentler Tim says, maybe we should just get him a book, or her a book, or whoever it was. I don't remember who it was. I reposted it. You can find it on Twitter. But you want to give everyone, you don't want to look at the 160 million reasons why the Giants lost 2 games already. You don't want to look at that. You don't want to look at your $160 million man and say, he's in 3 games, he's got 562 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And I don't know Lord knows how many fumbles. But you're going to hearken back to 2 quarters against a bad team in Phoenix that we should have beat by 30. Keep telling people the ball bounces weird. The football is going to, like I said, I always quote Clifford Franklin. The football is like a one-man cold. Clifford Franklin's only one catch, and Clifford Franklin's only one coming down with it. The problem is with this, the football bounces weird every year. All the bounces that you got last year that went your way, the 1-yard stops, the non-calls in the end zone for interference, the deflected passes in the air that went for touchdowns. But it doesn't bounce that way. When Purdy had 1 pass blocked, and it went up in the air. Last year, that would have been picked off by the Giants running for a touchdown. But the ball goes a different way every time. And I love it now because people that are in the Daniel Jones camp are like, well, we can't just blame Daniel Jones. We have to blame everybody. No, you can't give one person all the credit in the world for 2 quarters. Then when he sucks for another 4, go, well, we can't blame him. I will tell you this. And we've said this a million times, and everyone says this. The quarterback gets too much of the praise and the quarterback gets too much of the blame. But literally, when you're 22 of 32 for 137, yeah, you completed 68% of your passes, but when you're just checking down, and when you did try to go look down the field, you missed. And this is what's going to aggravate me about this team this season. Because I already said I don't know how many games they're going, but I don't think they're making the playoffs. Said that from week 1. I don't think they're before even week 1. So I don't think they're making the playoffs. But they're going to do this. They're going to look like world beaters against bad teams. They're going to give people false hope. The internet pendulum is going to swing rapidly one way to the next. We're going to hear how Daniel Jones is the Messiah and how Daniel Jones is the Savior, and we're going to compare him to all these people. And then this pendulum is going to swing back the other way, and then you're not going to hear from these people. And then at the end of the season, when we don't make the playoffs, these same people are going to say, well, I already told you we weren't going to make the playoffs. And it was a mistake to sign Daniel Jones. The game changed. This complexion of this game changed off that Bosa sack. How that was not a safety, I don't know. You could say he stopped forward progress, but he carried him into the end zone. His knee did not hit the ground. That or they are saying they blew the play dead. I don't know how that wasn't a sack, but that changed the complexion of the game immediately. And I said this when we did a little bit of a live stream. When Daniel Jones gets hit in the mouth early, he folds. And I said this, and you know what? I always use the boxing analogy from Keith, who when I talk to Keith, who comes on, Mr. Warzone, he comes on this show. I said it before, and I've said it a million times, and this isn't something I came up with, but I've said it before. Everyone has a plan of what they're going to do until they get punched in the mouth. And when Daniel Jones gets punched in the mouth, things go bad. Just plain and simple. Now, you also have to go to the fact that Eric Gray should not have tried to field that punt. And this is what kind of set the whole thing in motion. Eric Gray made a rookie mistake. He tried to field a punt that it probably looked like would have bounced into the end zone, and he put the Giants in bad field position. And then the next play, Daniel Jones gets sacked. And that really changed the entire complexion of the game. It really did. And we've said it before, I don't think one play loses a game. I think it's a multitude of bad plays that always lose you a game. Because a lot of times people will be like, well, if he would have caught that pass in the fourth quarter, we would have won. But you're not looking at the other 30, 40 plays that occurred before that could have also helped you win the game. But I think it started, the downhill process started on Eric Gray fielding that kick. He pulled a Leon Bright. Young guys, go look it up. Mr. I never fair catch anything. And then he got whacked right away. Bad play. And then we get the Bosa sack. And the Bosa sack, Jones didn't even see him. Again, he didn't even see him. He's sitting right in front. He's sitting right in front of you. You don't see him. $40 million a year. I expect you to hang in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. And he had time. But don't worry, he only had 3-4 seconds in the pocket to that Waller pass, and he threw the pass high. And we're going to blame Waller. Waller's probably sitting here going, how the hell did I get here? I had Derek Carr throwing to me. I had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. I was considered one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I got paid. I come here and I can't even get the damn ball. I love when people are like, well, what happened to the Waller in training camp? I've said this before. It's a lot different when you go up against the all-shorts team. It's a lot different when you turn around and face a real competition. We got to talk about the defense. Kayvon Thibodeau got his sack, and I love it because I dug this sound effect up because it's going to be apropos. I don't have to make him a new one.
Hear ye, come one, come all, for it's the king of the covered sack.
And I love it because he gets the sack and he does the robot. You didn't get the sack. Purdy ran into you. Purdy stepped up into the pocket, went to the left, and you were standing right there. Where were you the rest of the game? Where was the defense the rest of the game? Where was the tackling the rest of the game? Mr. McFadden played his heart out. He had 10 total tackles, 9 were solo, which means he was leading the point of attack, and he had 4 tackles for a loss. Bobby Okereke, we're only 3 games in. But I've said this. I said this about this before. If you take a look at the market for off the ball linebackers and what they got in Chicago and a couple other places, we overpaid for Bobby Okereke. We did. And I understand why they did it, because they needed Giants needed an athletic sideline to sideline linebacker who could get to the ball carrier and help the Giants defensive line, that if he does get into the second level, he's going to make the stop for a short game. That's not happening. No tackles for losses. Xavier McKinney had his moments, but Xavier McKinney looked bad at times and got turned around on multitudes of plays. Dexter Lawrence for his 7 total tackles was pretty much nowhere. Same with Leonard Williams. These guys aren't making tackles at the point of attack. They're making tackles down the field. Same thing with A'Shawn Robinson. The only good thing about A'Shawn Robinson was yesterday's he got in the head of Trent Williams. How Trent Williams did not get ejected from that game, I have no clue. But your defensive line, Robinson 5 total, Williams 6, Lawrence 7. You would think by adding those up, and I think that's 18 total tackles by 3 of your defensive linemen, you would think there was no running lanes. But no, it was 39 carries for 141. They got to stop the run. They have to learn how. I've never. It was funny because I did a little quick stream with T-Brad during the game, and we were talking about tackling, and we're talking about Banks went up to make a tackle, and I said to him, I said, I haven't coached football and I haven't played football in years, and so I saw Banks, and Banks, when he went up to make the tackle, didn't go up to make the tackle. He just threw his shoulder into the ball carrier. And I pointed that out to T-Brad, and he even told me, because I believe T-Brad does a lot of work with youth football. He was like, yeah, they don't teach tackling anymore, Tim. I'm like, back in my day, the first thing they taught you is you keep your head up. You don't lead with your head, but you keep your head up because you want to keep your head in a swivel. You wrap your arms around the ball carrier. You drive with your legs, and you push into the ground. You wrap up. Not throwing a shoulder. Not just tackle. You tackle with your whole body. You don't just tackle with your arms. And I've never seen so many there were so many arm tackles, it wasn't even funny. And then if it wasn't bad enough, we go out and get Bobby Okereke also because he is going to be that coverage linebacker. You went out and got Isaiah Simmons because Isaiah Simmons was going to... Remember when Isaiah Simmons was going to be the man with his 4 tackles, 2 solid? Remember he was going to be the man and he was going to be that jack of all trades? We still to this day cannot cover the screen. I don't understand how we can't cover the screen. How we let so many big plays happen on screenplays. The defense needed to step up. The defense hadn't stepped up since that last quarter for 2 series in Arizona. You know what they needed?
Are you a big man? Huh? I'm talking to you. What? You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants. Look, I'm wearing a belt. I got big boy pants on.
McFadden was the only one that really had his big boy pants on. Trey Hawkins, I love Trey Hawkins. I really do. I think Trey Hawkins is going to be, I think he's going to be a player in this league. I don't think he's going to be like a Corey Ballentine. I think he's going to be a player. But the problem is this, he got turned around on so many different plays. He got made look silly at times. And that's going to happen for a guy that's drafted where he was and the school he came out of. And so I'm not going to blame him too much. But he looked silly at times. It was silly at times. Banks is a player. Banks, I give Banks all the credit in the world. Banks is a player. Banks truly fits the Wink system. He's just got to learn how to tackle. And the lack of pass rush, though. Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. How this Wink attack is supposed to be...
Warning, warning, it's the Wink attack. Warning, warning, it's the Wink attack.
We're supposed to be going after that ball carrier. We're supposed to ball carrier. We're supposed to be getting on that quarterback. We're supposed to be wreaking havoc. But Wink is blitz at like 40% of the time and not even getting near the quarterback. He didn't get near the quarterback in Arizona. In Arizona, I would not say had the best line. He didn't get really near he didn't get near Brock Purdy. Yeah, they had 2 sacks, but they didn't fluster him much. Brock Purdy's biggest enemy yesterday was Brock Purdy because he missed some wide open guys. He just missed. And he missed last week against the Rams. He connected on all those passing plays when he went up against the Steelers. But he's been his own worst enemy, but he still threw for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. 8.4 yards a reception or an average play, which is above league average, which is 7. Daniel Jones is at 4.3, but that's okay. Mr. Irrelevant outplayed Mr. 160 million. I love it. Samuels just destroyed us. He was targeted 12 times, only had 6 catches. Only has 50% of his catches. Like I said, a lot of those were bad throws by Purdy. Same with Kittle. Kittle had 7 catches for 90 yards, 9 total targets, and 2 of those plays, one was a drop and one was a bad pass. For all the people that talked about we don't need Saquon Barkley. Don't worry, we don't need Barkley. We got the $160 million man and Daniel Jones. And people are going to be like, you're picking on Daniel. No, I'm being honest. I am being honest here. You have to look in the mirror and see what happened, not just for 2 quarters, but for the totality of 3 games. That's what you need to look at. And the problem is you have a certain segment, and I'm not painting all Giant fans with a broad stroke. Because honestly, that's not the case here. What the problem is this: if we're not going to be honest about things, I just think of Julius Campbell.
What I got to say, you really don't want to hear, because honesty ain't too high up on your people priority list, right?
Honesty? You want honesty?
This is honesty. You got 100. You're paying a guy 100, and people say, "Well, Patrick Mahomes has bad games. Joe Burrow had a bad game." Patrick Mahomes went to multitudes of Super Bowls, won 2. Joe Burrow's in his younger career, even with his injuries, has already gone to a Super Bowl. So to have a single game comparison against Daniel Jones is just nuts. It all starts at the top. That's what it is. It all starts at the top. And it all starts with,
it's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
That's what it is. That's the problem right there. You start with the top. Now, listen, this loss is not totally on Daniel Jones. Don't even think of that way. But the offense, the lack of continuity, the lack of ability to move the ball down the field, and I still don't get it. You are allowed to check out of plays, aren't you? Are you not? Are you not? When the defense is sitting there,
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
when they're stacking the box, it's okay to check out of the play. It really is. As a fifth-year quarterback, I am stunned by the lack of changes that he makes at the line of scrimmage. Eli Manning in pure utter frustration at times would run that damn clock down to 2 seconds before he snapped the ball because of the fact that he was making his adjustments. Daniel Jones gets to the line and just looks like he looks over the defense and it's like, okay, let's go. And then just runs the play. Not saying, and it was funny though, because there were some games last year where you could see him checking out of plays. You could literally see it. This year, these last 3 games, no. He just seems to be doing a Pat Shurmur and just running the plays that are called. Well, the kinder, gentler Tim is just sitting there because I see it now. I truly see it.
Do you see the light?
What light?
Have you seen the light?
Yes! Yes! Jesus H. goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
I have seen the light. Like I said, I was never a Daniel Jones hater. I was just a guy that just pointed out things that he did wrong. I'm still not a Daniel Jones hater. But in year 5, against quality competition, he's now 1-11 on primetime TV as well. Against in primetime against quality competition, Daniel Jones does nothing to make his team better. Let's just be honest. If we can look at this in an honest perspective, let's just be honest. That's it. This was a bad game for the entire team, but you went out and you got Darren Waller. He was targeted 7 times for only 3 catches. Longest was 9 yards. You got Wan'Dale Robinson back. You got Jalen Hyatt, who was a no-show. You got Darren, and I'm not blaming Jalen Hyatt because I said the same thing about Jalen Hyatt the day we drafted him. He gets 35 catches, average 17 yards a catch over this entire season. I think that's a success if he's got 4 touchdowns. But this just shows the importance of Saquon Barkley. And I love that because people are like, well, Saquon didn't do a lot in that fourth quarter. That comeback. Yeah, if you watch the multitudes of times that the Giants faked a play to Saquon Barkley, play action, fake to Saquon Barkley, which froze it. Daniel Jones did a play action. Half the Arizona defense, if not more, went with Saquon. That's what he does. That's what that $10 million running back does. You leave Daniel Jones out on an island by himself, you get 22 of 32 for 137. 1 interception, 2 sacks. We got to get right against Seattle on Monday Night Football. We got to see what Seattle does this weekend because I'm a little concerned about the Seahawks. I don't know. It depends on what team we're going to get. It's still early in the season. We're 1-2, 0-1 in the division. Can we straighten out the ship? Sure. Are we going to? Our schedule would dictate the fact that we're probably not going to straight out quickly because the Seahawks game to me is the easiest game so far on the schedule because now you got the Dolphins, the Bills, the Commanders. So that's a tough 3-game stretch. I was worried about the Jets. I'm not worried about the Jets anymore. I still think we have a shot against the Raiders, even though it's in Vegas. And then we go to the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Packers, the Saints, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Eagles again. Here's my thing. You know what? There's some Giants fans are so Bush League. Diggs over in Dallas blew out his ACL, and I blew out my ACL twice. It sucks. Fucking sucks rocks. And he blew out his ACL in practice, and you have some Giant fans reveling in the fact that he blew out his ACL. And I'm not painting all Giant fans with the broad stroke. It's only a small segment. And usually the smallest segment is the most boisterous. That's why they get the most attention. But that's all I got to say about that. Thank God we have the kinder, gentler Tim. Because if we didn't, this would just be this would just be bad. So you remember, it's a good weekend. Enjoy some football.
Grab a brew. Don't cost nothing.
Sit down, grab a brew, relax, and let's get ready for Seattle. And again, this is Tim. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why? That'd be awesome.